our moderator, Ms. Susari, to guide us through the event. Ms. Susari, the screen is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Matisha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay.
Is it clear, my voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, thank you. So, Rabbi Israh li Sodri, wa yassir li Amri, wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It is very happy. Thank you very much. Wow, I can feel your spirit. Very nice. Okay. Well, so yes, it is very happy for me to be here on this beautiful Saturday and wonderful weekend. And also, I would like to thank you for the audiences for attending the webinar and Pak Muklas as the head of STIBA IEC, all the lecturers, the English team, and the last but not the least, Nicholas Adam Bone as our speaker. Well, yeah, talking about British and culture, talking about British culture and literature, I think it is so attractive. Am I right? Well, because the United Kingdom has a very long history. The Kingdom of the Great Britain, if I'm not mistaken, was formed in 1701. Meanwhile, the literature itself has various of writers like Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, and many others. Therefore, it is very interesting to know more about the life in the United Kingdom at the moment. But before we listen to the next story, I would like to invite Pak Muklas as the head of STIBA IEC to give a short speech regarding today's activity. Pak Muklas, are you ready? I think okay, maybe he's still checking the microphone.
Hello, Ibu.
Okay,
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, very clear, Pak Muklas. So please, the time is yours, the screen is yours.
Okay, wait a minute ya.
Enak yang pedas. Yang mau ada ya.
Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i sayyidina Maulana Muhammad nabiyina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rabbi sholli wa salli wa halul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Honorable the key speaker Mr. Nicholas Bond, honorable to Miss Susari from Go English and part of STIBA IEC Jakarta, and honorable to all of the participants. Thank you very much for being in this webinar in STIBA IEC Jakarta in collaboration with Go English. This is the second event. Hopefully for the next event we would like to have a lot of events that we would like to present to all of us, especially to improve our knowledge related our English. The important things here in STIBA IEC Jakarta, we provide a lot of information. That is one thing that the commitment of STIBA IEC Jakarta in sharing or giving a lot of information related about English, especially for nowadays theme. It is British culture and also the literature related about the fun facts. Distinguished lecturers, honorable speakers, respected guests, and beloved students here. Today's webinar is not only just learning literature and also culture, but it is about celebrating curiosity and creativity and also the joy of the discovering the world through the language. With this theme, British culture and literature, fun facts, British culture and literatures, invite us to explore the richness, humor, and diversity of British life, literature, and so on. Hopefully that by having this one, we can influence, get a lot of information from the global education, art, and also our thought too. As a campus in STIBA IEC Jakarta has tagline berkualitas dan mudah kerja, And also from literature to the future, STIBA IEC Jakarta believes that literature is not just something to be studied, but as the window through which can understand humanity and shape our future later. So beyond the classroom, STIBA IEC Jakarta is deeply committed to the service to the community. We believe that the education must not stop at the theory, but having sharing and caring like this, we can get our real life better. Our students and lecturers actively participate in these community service programs, literary development in collaborations with Go English. Yeah, of course, having a project to shape our future better by empowering more our quality in English and understanding for the culture, it can face our future easily. The spirit of this contribution of STIBA IEC Jakarta and make education truly powerful. It is one of the transform knowledge that we believe in our campus by having learning into the leadership given in this campus. And once more, I'd like to say thank you very much to the committee and also the lecturers, guest speakers, and also the host, master of ceremony. I extend my heartfelt appreciation for you, for your hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm to make this webinar running well without any obstacles. Maybe that's enough, the important one it is how do we get the lot information related about British culture, not about my speech here, but I really appreciate you all of your comings on time here. And once more, I'd like to say, hopefully these webinars bring knowledge, bring inspiration to everyone. By having basmala, I think it can be open officially. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. I'll give back
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay,
Miss
so thank you.
Susari Nugraheni. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Mulas. Thank you very much for the speech. Well, so now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker. Well, he is Nicholas Adam Bond. Nicholas is a British. He is from Essex, England. Well, you know something? He has just arrived in Indonesia, in Semarang, if I'm not mistaken, about 3 months ago. And currently, Nick is studying Bahasa Indonesia in Universitas Negeri Semarang. Well, good morning, Nick. I'm here to have you here.
Good morning.
Okay,
Thank
how are
you.
you?
Thank you for the invite.
How is your morning?
Yeah, it's been good. Been nice and
Okay.
chilled. Had a busy day this week, busy week this week with
Oh.
uni and other volunteering, helping out as well. So I've been busy with studying Bahasa Indonesian and then also helping with other like activities like this and supporting other people learning English as well.
So thank you very much then. So yeah, so appreciate with your accepting in my invitation. Well, actually, let me introduce myself. I haven't introduced myself before. I am Sari. I was Arda's classmate when we were taking master in Belfast. So is Arda here as well?
No, she is like her schedule lately. She has about 7 multiple things at once, so she's I think at a meeting and then doing something else as well.
Okay, so no problem. Just send my greet to her. So are you ready to deliver the story? I read your slide, so interesting. So I will start to present in Zoom, and you may start the presentation.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah,
talk,
ready when absolutely ready when you are.
Okay. So here we go. Oh, sorry.
So,
Minute.
no worries at all. So, good morning, everyone. As the previous speakers have said, I'm Nicholas, but you can call me Nick. I'm from England. So, if everyone can understand me, I hope you can. People say my accent is sometimes a little bit strong or hard to understand, but I will do my best to keep it at a good pace for yourselves and slow it down, because sometimes I also get told I speak too fast. So I will try my best to help you with all that. So I also have been learning some Bahasa Indonesian the last 2 months. So if you understand me when I say apa kabar, hope you do understand when I say that. If you can move to the next slide, then I will explain the next slide as well. So, of course, I'm from England, United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. I'm from the major part of England. The very interesting thing when it comes to United Kingdom is you can travel only a few miles between towns or cities or different areas, and the accent and the pace and the speed of the voice would change a lot differently. For example, if you went to visit Newcastle, the accent would be very, very different to the accent in Liverpool. But I'm from a city down in the south called Colchester. Not many people know of it. So when I tell people where I'm from, I normally just tell people I'm from near London because that's the easiest way to explain. On the next slide, we have, so of course that's where I'm from, Colchester, Essex. One of the most interesting facts of culture you can see on that slide is it has a lot of history, and it's known as a very historic city. It has, even to today, if you walked around the city, it still has remains of the Roman walls that were built by the Romans many, many years ago. It has a beautiful castle that was built by the Romans as well. And it's a military town and it's a university city, so it has multiple diversity of people from all ages and all parts of the world coming together and helping each other and supporting each other in that city. If we go to the next slide, hopefully I should be able to. Yes, so now this is where I am now. So as the previous speaker said before, I moved here 4 months ago in July with my girlfriend at the time, who now is my fiance. We moved here 4 months ago. It's been very exciting times. At times it's very challenging because it's very brand new, but I'm so much more happier and so much more relaxed where I am now. And I very much prefer my life here in Indonesia than England, but I have no issue like today talking about English culture and English literature and discussing the matters and speaking about it. There's no issue at all about it. So on the next slide, you will see where I was before. Before this, back in England, I used to work at a company called Sports Safe. That's evolved in sports equipment and sports servicing of equipment for the educational sector in England. So before I used to be on the phone most days, or mostly every day between Monday and Friday. I would be doing maybe about 80 to 100 outgoing phone calls and receiving about 20 incoming. So it was a very busy and strenuous job. So I got about 9 years of background of customer service and sales, and actually worked in an office for many years and did many different roles as well. But where I am now is I'm now at UNIS in Zamanga. I'm now in the BIPA program, studying Bahasa Indonesian, and I'm learning about the culture and learning about the language and learning the music and the martial arts and all different types of foods. And we've had different visits and different homestays, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm really looking forward to learning more and more on that. So on the next slide, we should be, yes, so today I will go through with you. These are the brief topics I will cover. So we'll cover the small talk conversation, British culture, but that's a very broad subject to cover because I could be here for hours talking about different British culture, and the English learning and literature, and discussing how we learn about the English in our educational setup in England. So on the next slide, Yes, so we are now going to be talking about small talk. So, for example, you can see there's examples of their small talk. So, one of the major examples I always tell people in England that we massively talk about in England is the weather. It's a easy conversation to talk about someone in England. I used to do it all the time when I was working in a customer service setup because of where the different parts are in the country. If I was in Essex in the south and I was speaking to someone over the phone somewhere in the north, the weather would be completely a lot different. So from somewhere in Indonesia, you normally have, of course, hot or wet. Normally in England, it can vary from part to part. So we always love discussing the weather, and also people would love moaning about the weather, saying it's too hot or too wet or too cold. So other examples are people will ask you, how's the weather where you are, and that will start that conversation and have banter and have a good laugh about it. And then other examples of small talk, some people will ask you, how's your day going? Some people will ask it as actually they care about how's your day going in England. And some people will just ask it as a conversation starter to roll that conversation. And normally it's, yeah, I'm good, how's your day going? Or other people would actually care and go, how actually is your day going? It depends on the tone of the voice. And then sometimes you have a more deeper conversation about how your day is or how your week has been. One of the major bits I've observed over the years when I've been to events, working events or personal events in England. So when you go, for example, to a party, the two major things people always discuss when you arrive was how was the traffic? Is the biggest one. It's like, oh, was the traffic good for you? Oh no, I got stuck on a different civic road. Or someone will ask, if you come from far, what's the weather like where you are, or what was the weather like on your travels? It's always the go-to conversations they always ask. Yeah, like basically by law, basically to ask someone by how was your traffic or how was the weather where you are or where you've been traveling from. And then other examples of small talk. So if I was been working in the office on a Friday, the major conversation would be about what was your plans for the weekend, and then people would discuss sometimes in depth what they're doing, and sometimes people would only keep it very short and sweet because sometimes they don't want to talk about it or they haven't actually got much on. And then a big one as well is, of course, on the Monday morning, people will then also remember when people said about on Friday, oh, what was your plans? On Monday, they're like, oh, so how was your weekend? How was it? Did you enjoy this event? Did you enjoy that? Did you actually go out in the end? Did you do that? And one of the big, very informal small talk in England is so when you walk past someone, let's say in an office setting, you may go, "You all right?" And it's more of basically another way of saying hello. So you're not sometimes asking how someone actually is. It's more going, "You all right?" Like just checking someone and saying, "You're good," and that's it. It's not expecting having a in-depth extended conversation about how someone is or how their emotions are or how they're being or how their health is. It's more just basically another way to say hello. But another thing in England is when we do small talk conversations, we never really ask about someone's like personal health or personal information. So, for example, when I used to work in the customer service sector, it would always be like, how you been today, or how's your day going, how's the weather like, and then that would open a more broader conversation and expand more topics from there, and then you would maybe have a more in-depth conversation about how they've been, or depends on the tone of the conversation, maybe you would cut it short and then move on to talking about maybe business matters. Um, And then another point is British small talk is quite similar to small talk here in Indonesia. There's differences, of course, because of course sometimes in Indonesia, we ask people like how their family is, but sometimes in England you wouldn't really ask someone's family if you didn't really know them. But yeah, the British small talk to here is quite similar to small talk in Indonesia. It's always asking about how someone is or how someone's been. So that's one thing I quite enjoyed going from a setting of definitely a lot of used to being a lot of small talk in England. Small talk here is more in depth, a lot more caring, a lot more supportive questions. Sometimes a bit more direct, but it's more actually, sometimes personal but nicer conversations as well. So yeah, in England, you wouldn't ask where someone is from, for example. It would be maybe if you knew them or we've spoken to before, then yes. But if to complete strangers, you wouldn't normally ask, "Oh, where you from?" Or "Where you going?" So you wouldn't get too personal with those questions. So but yeah, there's a lot of normally small talk conversations in England. We do small talk in the office setting, small talk when we see our neighbours down the road, when we're in restaurants or pubs or local shops. There's always small talk going on, and it's always quite different. If you went into, let's say, a convenience store in England, what you would call a corner shop, sometimes you would have a very small talk conversation with the person behind the counter, and you would have sometimes talking about the local area or how the day is, or many different topics, and it could easily board to that. On the next slide, we will discuss one thing that very happens quite a lot in England. So one big thing that the British and the English is known for is we apologise so much, and sometimes we apologise for no reason. If you observe the English and the British in any sort of format, in let's say queuing, for example, if you try to get through a queue, let's say you needed to get past that queue to go to somewhere else, you honestly you would see people going, "Oh, sorry, can I get through?" And then you literally be saying sorry multiple times. And then sometimes we apologize for sometimes we've done nothing wrong, but just for being polite, but sometimes go over the top of being polite. So that's one big set you normally see people apologize for is normally cutting through in queues. So one thing I got used to being in Indonesia and then being in England, of course, in England and then more Western countries, of course, you get used to being called by your name or calling other people by their name. Here, I've got used to people calling me Mr. Or Mr. Nick or many different names, or calling other people by different names as well, but not by their first name. But the big thing I would say definitely in England and where I was from, it would be calling people by their first name, or sometimes people would have nicknames, and you would maybe shorten their name, or they would have a nickname known for something else. So yeah, that's one of the differences between in England and Indonesia, between the names, and it took me a little bit of time to get used to. On the next slide, we will learn about the education in England. So in England, we do a lot of reading books. We absolutely, people in England absolutely adore reading and watching plays, for example. So we read. I remember reading a book called Of Mice and Men in secondary school, and watching plays. I remember having many school visits to go watching Shakespeare, and there'd be always different local projects going on with Shakespeare, and you would go watch different types, maybe watch Romeo and Juliet. I can remember many times in school, we would learn about Romeo and Juliet, and you would have fantastic teachers that would translate the olden English, or the Shakespearean English, to the modern English, and they would explain to myself and other students at the time what that English meant, and then explain it easily for us. And also, for example, also we would also do plays. So we would sometimes do those plays like Macbeth. I can remember being in the first year or two of secondary school, and I was involved in Macbeth. I think I was even Macbeth in the whole play, and that was absolutely amazing because you learn the English in a completely different format where you actually are involved in the play, you actually learning it, you're learning the lines, and you're learning the emotion sometimes through the character as well. It's a lot different to sometimes reading it, absolutely, and sometimes watching it is amazing as well. But sometimes doing the play and being involved in that play and reading those lines and listening to other people doing those lines is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, in secondary schools and in schools in England, there's a big thing on reading books of Shakespeare and reading books of, for example, like Mice and Men. And there would be many examples of we would read the book as a class together and then maybe discuss it. And sometimes other classes would have different books, and then you would maybe go to workshops and discuss those different types of topics. That's one big thing. How literature is gets taught is always a big about reading the books and that, but then sometimes some other formats are a bit more hands-on and more interactive. For example, let's say going back to being involved in the plays, it's a bit more interactive. There's many different ways of learning English literature in England, and it was very exciting times. I really enjoyed the acting side of it. Really, really exciting times. But that's the short sort of way I've covered today. I know it. That was a lot of information, sometimes at all. So if there's anything you want me to go over again, or there's anything that I haven't covered and you want to ask, absolutely no issues. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and any questions, certainly go ahead.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions from the audiences, so I will not recap
No
now.
worries.
So I will invite the audiences. Anyone want to ask something or give what comment or something to Nick? You may open your mic or you may write it down in the chat box.
I'm me first. I have a question. First of all, is about received pronunciation.
Sorry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah.
You introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
Good day. My name is Muhammad Abdul Majid. I have a question about first of all about received pronunciation, and second is about the history of fish and chips. First about received pronunciation. Does received pronunciation, or RP, is is widely used by people in England, or and and or even used by people in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I would. Oh, sorry.
The second is the history of fish and chips. Does fish and chips is how about the history of how about the history of fish and chips? Since I heard about the because since I have heard about the an ancient Greek dish named Therokrustos ichthys. Does fish and chips inspired by that such dish? Thank you.
So to answer your two questions, first one on the translation, words from across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, I think is pronounced a lot differently. It depends on where you are also in the country. People will speak a different tone and a different pace. Some people may also, if you listen to people from different parts of England, if you meet different people, like myself, if you met someone else, you would maybe speak to someone and go, I don't understand what they're saying, or they may be a lot more clearer than me today. People pronounce words very differently, sometimes from where they are, or where the environment they've grown up in, or the community they have been around. So everyone does pronounce words sometimes the same, and then sometimes also very differently. It sometimes gets quite confusing even in England, if you speak to someone from Liverpool or from Newcastle, if they have a Frasier accent, I've been many times in my previous job back in England, I'd be on the phone and I honestly would be trying to ask someone, what are you actually trying to say, or what are you saying? Because I actually wouldn't actually understand them because maybe they're speaking too fast or not making clear sense. On your second question about fish and chips, I don't know the whole origin of fish and chips, but I do know that fish and chips is definitely not from England. I would say like most foods that the English and the British love, normally it's from other parts around the world where we unfortunately conquered part of the world and then took things back. So I think what I knew about fish and chips is I think it came from the Middle East and then we brought it back and it was inspired by that.
Okay. Well, yes. Well, even when I just want to share my experience as well, Nick and Mas Abdul, when I was in Belfast. So it is took me more than 3 months to understand about the accent of the local people because it is quite difficult to understand. Oh my God. But when I moved to London, so I think it is better lah ya in our ear because it is easily to comprehend then in the Belfast accent. Yeah. So there are various of accent in England itself.
Oh, absolutely. I
Mhm.
would say in Ireland the accent is so much stronger and they speak so much faster as well. Even when I had friends with people from Ireland, and sometimes they would speak sometimes two completely differently. They would sometimes forget they're in England, so they would say to me, "Oh, sorry, I was back in Ireland for the weekend," and then they would have to slow their voice down, change how they speak, because when they're back in Ireland, they talk so fast with their accent. When they're back in England, everyone's like, "I don't know what you're actually trying to say to me," and they slow it down. So yeah, their accent is a lot stronger and a lot bit more difficult to try to explain or understand than people maybe from the south.
Okay, very interesting there. So there is a second question. It is from Carrie Aurelia. She is writing on the chat box. Yeah, I will help you to read it. I studied Macbeth extensively while I was in school. If I may ask, please, is it true that actors avoid uttering the word Macbeth before a production? I heard that this practice was put into place to avoid cursing the production as a whole. So, is it right?
The honest truth is, I actually don't know the answer to that because I did Macbeth when I was about, well, how old was I? About 12, so a good like 15 years ago. So I don't really remember if there was any specific curses they told us not to do. I do know normally in British plays over the years, there have been many things like that where actors have been told not to do something before a play because of myths or curses before specific plays like that.
Okay, but Cherry, do you want to add something with your questions? Or is it already enough? Nice question, I think. Okay, so I will invite another questions, another people. Anyone, please? Okay, Mbak Teresa. Yeah, you may open your mic.
Okay, good morning. My name is Teresa Brigita from Gandhi School. So I want to ask related British culture. So I learned them mostly from popular media, like pop culture media, especially specifically from Japanese pop culture media, like cartoon, games, and stuffs. But there is a common thing about British people that number one, they are always labeled as bad cook. Like, where is that labeling come from? That's the first one. And number two, I don't really know like the like British culture that is pretty much explored unless except the historical part. Like, would you mind to explain further about the English
Baru mandi apa baru?
British culture?
Wow.
British culture that mostly not been exposed to the from pop culture media. Thank you.
Of course. So for question number one, the sample, the myth about British people not very good at cooking. I would say the big thing from my own experiences is definitely in England and in Britain, the environment of working is very it's different. It's very sometimes people haven't got time to do things, or people get told to do a thing by themselves. So sometimes they have been focused on their work life, and sometimes they haven't got time to cook, or they may get lazy and do shortcuts to do that for that. For question two about different cultural differences between pop culture and different cultures is that I've been back in England. I would say a big one is that sometimes people portray England as maybe very, like lately, people sometimes may try it as very like a hostile sort of country, or people may get treated differently if you're, say, from a different country or different religion. There's definitely a minority of people that are against people from, different religions or different countries, but the environment that I've been brought up in, the city that I lived in, the community that I come from, we come from so many different types of religions and so many different types of countries and backgrounds that so many people are so supportive, and it's amazing to see. And sometimes it gets not reported that much that England is a very country that does support everyone from many different backgrounds and does support everyone and does help everyone.
Okay. Well, there are many other questions in chat box, and I will help you to. Yeah. This is from Arnita. My question is, in your opinion, is there any British culture that relevant with Indonesian? What do you think?
Good one. I would say that's relevant to here. The big one is like, as I said previously, the small talk. Small talking is quite similar to here than them. But on the other hand, there's a difference between sometimes here that's very more community minded and very more supportive. But relevant to Indonesia, the big thing is a lot of British people love to talk and to learn and speak to people from all many different countries from around the world. So I would say there's two definitely similar things from the people I've met and discussed here and back in England. Many people love learning different topics and learning from other people.
How about the people, Nick? I mean that in my experience, I found out that British people are friendly in my experience.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about in Indonesia? Do you think the same that when I visited a place in England, so people like greet me, even we didn't know each other, just hi, hello, and something common that I met at that time. So what do you think in Indonesia?
I think the people here are even more friendly and even more supportive than back in England. There are definitely people back in England that are lovely people and lovely supportive people. But then there's other people in England that are very selfish or only care about themselves. But here, it's more of a majority of people are very supportive and very lovely. I can remember the first week I was here, I experienced it wasn't the greatest experience, but I experienced my first Indonesian funeral. But the positive that came of that was I saw the whole community came together and helped this family and did everything. And it's a complete different to back in England. Back in England, you may have like the close family that would help. But here I saw friends, neighbours, and everyone came together, helped with supplying food and doing supplies and putting all the tents up. And that was absolutely amazing to see. And everyone was so supportive and everyone came together to help this household.
Nice. Okay. Another question from Fatma Isa. My question is, what makes British humor special or different from American humor?
Good question. I would say sometimes British humor is sometimes very dry. We do love to be sarcastic, and sometimes if you didn't know someone, they may come across as blunt or rude if you overheard what they're saying, but sometimes they are being sarcastic or they like to take the mick out of someone. But yeah, that's a complete difference between I think British comedy is we love to take the mick out of ourselves, and a lot of people go, "Oh my God, why are you being so harsh on yourself?" It's like we're not being harsh on ourselves. We just take it as a joke that to take the mick out of ourselves.
Okay, I think Mbak Anagata want to ask something, yeah. Will you open your mic, Mbak Anagata? You still in mute. You're still.
Halo.
Okay. So now
Suara
you
saya
are.
terdengar? Oke, terima kasih. Oke, let me introduce myself. My name is Anagata. Hello. I'm from Go English. Okay. I'm gonna ask you about the famous general culture in UK, and that is a tea culture. As we know, British people drinking a lot of tea, and with your opinion and experience, how many times do you consume tea per day? And how does the tea taste in Indonesia? And you could give a comparison between them. And what do you think? Which brand tea do you like the most? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it is about tea culture.
Yeah, no, so that's a big thing in England. I can remember people being back in the office environment. I was never a big fan of tea or coffee back in England. Now I'm a big fan of tea here, but more just iced tea. More I prefer it sweet and cold. But back in England, I can remember people, let's say over a 8-hour shift, there'd be people that would go basically on the hour, or even before they would start working, they would go and make what the short slang word is brew, go make their coffee or make their tea to start the day. And there would be so many people that I would work with, and they would go, "Don't talk to me for 10 minutes. I need my coffee or I need my tea," and then come back to me. So sometimes people would be having tea about 6, 7 times over the day, and then maybe having tea again in the evening. Some people drink it a lot. Some people only have 2 or 3. But some people love what us British would call a cuppa. Some people love coffee or love tea and drink that tea so much. But for me, tea in England is quite, I would say, bitter. And the tea here, the tea I've already had is mainly iced tea, so it's very sweet.
Okay, so maybe now it's not only tea culture, yeah, but coffee culture as well, maybe, yeah. Coffee everywhere. Okay, another question from Mbak Rere. Yeah, Mbak Rere, as someone from UK studying in Indonesia, what cultural differences have you found most interesting or challenging?
I would say this is always a funny conversation to talk about, because the one big thing, of course, is the weather. The weather is completely different to here than England. When I left England, of course, it was still a British summer, but a British summer is sometimes different to Indonesian weather. But to be honest, the British summer sometimes is so hot that the heat is different to here. When I actually arrived, it actually was nicer being in here than being back in England in the British summer, because the British summer is normally so dry, and so the buildings don't have aircon and aren't built for it. But also the big thing as well that I got used to, and I got a few days to get used to, was many people here would love to see what was locals call pele. They would see me and they would go, Mister, can I have a photo? Or Mister, can I answer a question? And you would get used to people asking you about what's your favorite football team, or how's the weather, or why did you move here, or why are you here, or what are you studying? Like people who I've never met from anywhere, if even I'm in a shop or waiting for a lift or on the street, people would just come up to me and go, "So why are you here?" So the first few days I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" And after a while, I just embraced it, and I love when people ask me questions because it's lovely to speak to new people.
Well, it is called kepo. People so kepo, want to know about you. Okay, so Mbak Mutia, do you want to ask something, Mbak Mutia? Do you want to open your mic? So because you right here, I have a simple question, Mbak Mutia. Where is Mbak Mutia? No, Mbak Mutia. I think this is Mbak Mutia. Mbak Mutia, do you want to ask something? Open mic? Or I will move to another question first. Still in chat box, yeah. From
Hi,
Isab.
sorry.
Oh yeah, Mbak Mutia, please.
Hi, hi all.
Mhm.
Actually, I have a simple questions. Like, if someone wanted to feel British for a day, apart from drinking tea, of course, what 3 things should they absolutely do?
That's a very Very good question. I'm trying to think of something that. So the big things in England, culture-wise, are drinking tea, drinking coffee. There's a big culture of drinking alcohol. But of course, I understand some people, of course, don't drink alcohol. That's a big thing in England is drinking alcohol. If you wanted to be British, I would say the one big thing for me, I would watch British comedies, British sitcoms. That's a very big thing as well. To watch that sort of thing. People love when it comes to Christmas. They would sit around, eat chocolate, and watch British comedies and British sitcoms. And on repeat, and just literally sit on the sofa with friends and watch. But also the other things people would. The funny thing as well in British culture is when we have our favourite food, normally our favourite food is normally not even from Britain. Normally, sometimes our favourite food, sometimes people go, oh, I'll have a curry. And they're sometimes talking about a curry that's maybe a Chinese curry or a Japanese type of curry, but they literally just say curry. They just so sometimes people literally will sit there and have food from different parts of the world, and people love it. And other things, I think some people just love talking and love embracing and having jokes and taking the mick out of each other, and just enjoying the time with friends and family.
Okay,
Okay,
nice.
thank you.
Good. We still have 3 questions. Yeah, I think because we do not have plenty of time, so 3 questions from well, I think yeah. Oh, another question. A minute. From Mbak Isabel. Yeah, I think it is nice question. Mbak Isabel Carolia. First, how can we learn British accents? And the second one, she wants to know you speak in Bahasa.
Okay. The first one on British accents. To learn it, I would say the easiest way to learn British accent is one, of course, is to if you know anyone like a native from England, is to speak to them, and that way. And if you don't, that's absolutely fine. There's another way to listen to it. Many different ways would be watching different TV shows from England, and maybe pick different TV shows from around the country to learn different dialects and different accents and how people different speak. So, for example, Peaky Blinders is based in Birmingham, so you would have a whole different accent to if you picked a comedy that's based in London, you would be a lot of different accents to listen to. And also, yes, I can speak a little bit of Basque Indonesian. Mainly now, it's more just like slap baggy, saya makan. Like I can say a few sayings. I can't really have a proper dialogue with people right now. I would love to one day to have a dialogue with people, but right now it's more sayings and more short words or phrases like.
Okay, selamat pagi, selamat siang, and selamat malam. Okay, well, actually, there are more questions, but we do not have plenty of time. I will like to recap, yeah. I will recap the questions, yes, from Mbak Yami, Salsabila, and Mbak Nur Ar-Rahman. Mas Fahri, I'm so sorry. Maybe I cannot read the question. Yeah, overall, they want to know about wait, why each of the British, which of the England has different accents? This is the first questions, and how to speak the British in like natural sounds instead of like exaggerated or something weird from the non-native English.
I would say the big thing how the British sounds have changed over the years is normally I think it goes back to a lot of the steel industry and the factory industry from many years ago. People would speak a lot differently if someone was down, let's say, in a factory or down in the mines, or maybe if someone was working in the farms, it comes from that sort of background of that. And what was the last part of the question about the different accents?
Yeah, why when the different what how to speak English with the natural way from the non-native English?
That's a very good question. I would say, so the thing is with England is you can learn all like the formal English and learn all the different terms and types of sayings so formally, but then you may meet a native or you may go to England and people will speak to you, may not be informally, and may speak to you very fast. For example, someone may not go, "How you doing?" Someone will just go, "How you doing?" They'll sometimes shorten it down and shorten the phrases. I would say absolutely learn the English first as the formal way, and then after that, speak to people, watch YouTube, speak to different, go to different seminars, watch all the different films, listen to different type of music, and that will you'll learn different types of dialogue and different shortened sentences or slang that would help you going forward to speak with people as well, but more naturally.
So listen more, what speak more, or maybe engage more as well, yeah, with the
indeed,
the
yeah, and
people,
don't be afraid. Like if you make mistakes, that's absolutely fine. There are many people that in England, even if you went to England today, there are people that have lived there, that have a life there, who work there, that still sometimes can't. That will still won't make sense sometimes, or they'll make mistakes when they speak their own language.
Okay, wow, very nice, chit chat, yeah. Sharing, I think, yeah, it's very nice sharing for Nick. Thank you very much, Nick. But the time is more than the 12, 4 minutes after 12. I'm so sorry. And thank you very much again for Nick and audiences and Pak Muklas and all the committee. So before I give it back the time to Mas Hisham, and don't forget to send my greeting to Arda, yeah. So I will come to April, inshallah. I hope she will invite me. Okay, Mas Hisham, so please, the time is yours again.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sari. Thank you once again, Mr. Nicholas or Mr. Nick, and to our participation for the invitation. Thank you very much to our moderator, Mr. Sari, for guiding us until the end of this event. And also thank you so much to Mr. Nick for joining and sharing with us today. We really appreciate your time and effort. And before we end today's webinar, let's take a group photo together. Everyone, please turn on your camera and show your best smile. Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera. Okay, okay, okay. Already? Already? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We have now come to the end of today's webinar. On behalf of the company, I'd like to express our deepest appreciation to Ms. Nicholas, our honorable speaker, to Mr. Muklas, the head of STIBA IEC Jakarta, to our lovely moderator, Ms. Susari, and of course to our participants who joined us today. This webinar is proudly presented by STIBA IEC Jakarta in collaboration with True Image. We hope this session inspires and motivates you to keep learning and exploring English culture and literature. Thank you for your time, attention. stay motivated, stay inspired, and see you at our next event. That, that's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Very much. Thank you, Nick. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Much,
Nick.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Reminding
you. Thank
attendance.
you for
No
your
worries. Thank you so
answer.
much. No worries at all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, komite. Ya,
Ya, kehadirannya diisi ya,
felicity.
Bapak Ibu.
Iya, jangan lupa
Thank you
kehadirannya.
very much,
Izin
Mr. Nick.
live.
Ya.